Hi students, welcome back to the electrostatics lecture number 2, in which we are going to study about Coulomb's law, which is very important law in electrostatics, by which we can find out the electric field produced by the charges. And this Coulomb's law describes how one electric charge interact with another electric charge. How a point charge, particularly point charge, how it interacts with another point charge. What is point charge? If there are two bodies separated by some distance on which some charge distribution is there, and we call them as charged bodies, and if the size of those charged bodies is very small in comparison with the separation between them, then we can consider those bodies as point charges. Okay, so this law talks about the interaction between two point charges. The electric force is being exerted by one charge on the another charge, and that electric force is always along the line joining those two charges. And the magnitude of this electric force exerted by one charge on another charge is always proportional to the product of those two charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between those two charges. The force will be repulsive if the charges are having same sign, and the force will be attractive if the charges are having opposite sign. They do attract if the charges are opposite in sign. Right? So this is the statement of this Coulomb's law. The electric force exerted by one point charge on another acts along line joining the charges. It varies inversely as the square of the distance separating the charges and is proportional to product of charges. And the force is repulsive if the charges have the same sign. Like charges repel each other, and attractive if the charges have opposite sign. Unlike charges attract each other. So the magnitude of electric force exerted by charge Q1 on another charge Q2, or charge Q exerted by charge Q2 on another charge Q1, they would be same in magnitude but opposite in direction. You can see this picture. I have taken 2 point charges Q1 and Q2. They are separated by a distance smaller, and the force exerted by charge Q1 on Q2, the magnitude of the force exerted by charge Q1 on Q2 would be same as the magnitude of the force exerted by charge Q2 on Q1, but they are opposite in direction. Equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. And by combining the points that we have considered from this Coulomb's law, we can write the equation for Coulomb's law. The magnitude of force acting on charge Q2 by Q1 is taken as F12 modulus, and it will be same as magnitude of force acting on charge Q1 by charge Q2 is taken as F21. They would be same and equal to K into modulus of Q1 Q2 by R square. What is K here? It is a constant. It is a proportionality constant, because we have studied here that the force is directly proportional to the product of those two charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between those two charges. And I am removing that proportionality, then we can keep this constant K. So electric force is equal to K into Q1 Q2 by R square. Since we are writing the magnitude here, I have kept modulus. Okay. And Q1 in terms of direction also we can say that F12 will be equal to K Q1 Q2 by R square without modulus. What is this? Force exerted by Q1 on Q2, and F21 will be K Q1 Q2 by R square. This is force exerted by Q2 on Q1. F12 and F21 are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction, and the direction would depend on the sign of the charge. If the sign of the two charges is positive or same, then they would repel each other. If the sign of the two charges are opposite, then they would attract each other. But the direction is always opposite to each other. For example, if it is repulsion, then they will go in this way, opposite to each other. And if it is attraction, they will go in this way, F12 and F21. They do attract. Okay? And here, Q1 comma Q2 are to be substituted with their sign. Are to be substituted with their sign, so that we can know whether it is going to be positive or negative. Okay, if the force is positive, we can say that it is repulsion force. If the force is negative, then we can say that it is attraction force. Okay, that is why sign of the charges are very, very important. And what is this Q? What is this K here in this expression? The K is equal to a constant which is 9 into 10 to the power of 9 Newton meter square per Coulomb square. How do we write this unit? This is Newton and this R square comes here meter square. The Q1, Q2 comes onto the denominator, so it is Coulomb square, the charge of the Coulomb. Okay, 9 into 10 to the power of 9 Newton meter square per Coulomb square is the, usually this is written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. What is epsilon naught? Epsilon naught is permittivity of free space. Permittivity of free space. What is its value? Epsilon naught value is 8.854 into 10 to the power of minus 12 Coulomb square by Newton meter square. Coulomb square by Newton meter square. This is the epsilon naught value. permittivity of free space, like vacuum. Okay, so this is about electric force acting between 2-point charges. Now let us try to see some important properties about this electric force acting between two charges. Very important properties. We can get some worth noting points from the discussion till now. The first, can say, properties of electric force between 2-point charges. Properties of electric force between 2-point charges, where two charges are separated by some distance q2 and electrostatic force between them would be which is equal to k q1 q2 by r square, which is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square. Magnitude I am writing. Okay, so from this expression what we can write? The first property is it is an inverse square law of force. It is an inverse square law of force. What does this mean? The force is inversely proportional to the square of the separation between two charges. So in that case we call that force as inverse square law of force. You can observe from this it is proportional to 1 by r square. And the second point that we can write is it is an action-reaction pair. What does this mean? Two charges exert equal and opposite force on each other. This force exerts same the force on this charge q2 is same as the force on this charge q1 by charge q2 and opposite in direction. This we have already discussed. Okay, the third important point is very important. It depends on medium where the charges are placed, in which charges are placed. How do you understand this? If you observe this equation, epsilon naught is permittivity of free space. Permittivity of free space, which is vacuum. It is depending on epsilon naught, which means if these two charges are placed in vacuum, then this is the expression for the force. Now if A dielectric, which is insulator, so free from free electrons, which does not contain any free electrons. A dielectric is placed between two point charges. What would happen? Then force would be altered, means changed. The force would be altered. How it would alter, that we will see. Okay, so the force now would become like 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught K Q1 Q2 by R square, where this K is dielectric constant. Dielectric constant. So this is in medium, whereas this is in vacuum. This is in vacuum. This formula is in vacuum. This formula is in medium. It depends on medium. Now, what did you observe from these two expressions? The force decreased by K times, which means if this I write it as medium, Fe in medium is equal to Fe vacuum by K. Okay, this may be because of induction of charges into the molecules of intervening medium. Okay, but what you have to observe is the force acting between those 2 point charges. If dielectric is placed between them, it is altered and it is decreased by K times, where K is called dielectric constant. Okay, so this is very important property of electric force. And one more thing here we can write as epsilon naught K is epsilon, where epsilon is permittivity of medium. Permittivity of medium, so that we can write force expression as in medium 1 by 4 pi epsilon Q1 Q2 by R square. Instead of epsilon naught K, I can write epsilon, where epsilon is the permittivity of the medium. Now you can compare these two. This is Fe in vacuum. You can see here it is epsilon naught, permittivity of free space. Here epsilon, it is permittivity of medium. But the relation between this and this would be this. Okay. And one more important property regarding this electric force is, if there are three charges so that two charges exert force simultaneously on third charge. Three charges are there and two charges exert force simultaneously on third charge. What does that mean? On third charge, there are two forces are being exerted. One is by first charge and the other one is by second charge. Then net force exerted on third charge, is vector sum of the forces exerted by those charges individually. If F1 is the force exerted by first charge on third and F2 is the force exerted by first charge on second charge on third, then it would be the net force would be F equal to F1 plus F2. What is this? This is the net force acting on third charge. F1 is force on third charge due to first charge, and this is force on third charge due to second charge. Vector sum. If there are n number of charges, this law is also holds for n number of charges. If a force is exerted on one charge due to other charges, n number of charges, then in that case F we can write as F1 plus F2 plus F3 plus so on Fn. This has a very good name. This is called as principle of superposition of force. Principle of superposition of force. We use this principle of superposition of force for calculating the electric force acting on a charge due to other charges simultaneously. The net force we can calculate. If there are three charges, so the two charges exert force simultaneously on third charge, then net force exerted on third charge is vector sum of the forces exerted by those charges individually. Okay, this is very important property of electric force. Okay, now we will see vector form of Coulomb's law. Vector form of Coulomb's law. Vector form of Coulomb's law. Let Q1, Q2 are the charges whose position vectors are R1 equal to Ix1 plus Jy1 plus Kz1 and R2 equal to Ix2 plus Jy2 plus Kz2 are separated by distance mod r, which is equal to mod r1 minus r2, where x1 comma y1 comma z1 and x2 comma y2 comma z2 are coordinates of the charges respectively. Q1, Q2 respectively. Then force acting on charge Q1 due to charge Q2 is F12 is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R1 minus R2 this. See, I have got Q because of this. Okay, so this also can be written as actually 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R1 minus R2 square into R1 minus R2 with a unit cap, where this is the direction of the force. What is this? It is a unit vector acting along the separation between the two charges. Separation between the two charges. This is mod r, which is equal to R1 minus R2. This is Q1, this is Q2. This is same as this because unit vector is nothing but R1 bar minus R2 bar by modulus of R1 bar minus R2 bar, so that into this will give you cube. You can write this as R1 minus R2 unit vector is written as by modulus of it. So that if you substitute this here, you will get this force acting on charge Q1 due to charge Q2. Similarly, we can get force acting on charge Q2 due to charge Q1. Force acting on charge Q2 due to charge Q1 would be, let me write it here, F21 will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R2 minus R1 cube into R2 minus R1 bar. This is force on Q2 due to Q1. F21 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R2 minus R1 bar cube into R2 minus R1 bar, force on Q2 due to Q1. This also you can write in this way. The only thing is you have to know what is the unit vector along that line joining the two charges. This is vector form of Coulomb's law. Okay. So now, based on the information that we have discussed till now, let us do one example problem. How in the examinations the problems are being asked based on this. Okay, so this is the problem. Three charges Q1, Q2, Q3 are placed on the vertices of an equilateral triangle of side 1 meter, where Q1 is 1 microcoulomb, Q2 is minus 2 microcoulomb, and Q3 is 3 microcoulomb. And the aim of this problem is find the net electric force on charge Q1. Okay, so how many forces are acting on this charge Q1? Two forces. One is by Q2 and the other one is by Q3. Okay, so first let me write force on charge Q1 due to charge Q2, and let me take it as F1, which is I am writing it as F1, the magnitude I am writing. It should be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square, which is equal to 9 into 10 to the power of 9. Q1 is how much? 1. Q2 is how much? This we are writing magnitude, so we have to write only the magnitude of the charge. So by 1 square. So this is 1 into 10 to the power of minus 6 microcoulomb, because 1 into 10 to the power of minus 6 and 2 into 10 to the power of minus 6. So micro equal to 10 to the power of minus 6 meter. One micro equal to 10 to the power of minus 6. Okay, so if you simplify this, you would get 9 into 2 into 10 to the power of minus 12 into 9, you will get 10 power minus 3. So that you can get it 18 into 10 to the power of minus 3. So 1.8 into 10 to the power of minus 2 Newton, F1. What is its direction? Because Q1, it is the force acting on Q1 due to Q2. They are unlike charges. They do attract each other. So F1 will be this way. F1 will be this way. They do attract each other. Remember this value. Now we will write force on charge Q1 due to charge Q3. Okay, let me take it as F2. So it would be Q1 Q3 by R square. What is Q1 is same and Q3 is now this time 3. So you would get a similar way I am approaching. This would be 27 into 10 to the power of minus 3 Newton. So it will be 2.7 into 10 to the power of minus 2 Newton. This is F2. Force on charge Q1 due to charge Q3. Magnitude. Okay, what would be this direction of this force? Because they are same kind of charges, both are plus, so there will be a repulsion force between them. So F2 will be this. And resultant of this force we will get as F net from principle of superposition of force. Net charge on Q1 is F net equal to F1 plus F2, vector sum. Okay, so if this is the angle between F1 and F2, let me take it as some theta, F1 and F2 as theta. Okay, and we know that this is an equilateral triangle whose angle is 60 degrees and this total angle is 120 from here to here. So theta will be 120 degrees. From this picture it is very clear. So now we will write the net force on charge Q1. Because we know F1 and F2, now we will write net force on charge Q1. Net force on charge Q1 is vector sum of F1 and F2. F net, let me take it as, let me write magnitude first. Let me take it as some F net, which would be F1 square plus F2 square plus 2F1 F2 cos theta. F net equal to under root 1.8 into 10 to the power of minus 2 whole square plus 2.7 into 10 to the power of minus 2 whole square plus 2 into 1.8 into 10 to the power of minus 2, 2.7 into 10 to the power of minus 2. Cos theta is cos 120. So cos 120 is minus 1 by 2. So cos 120 is 1 minus 1 by 2. If you substitute this here and simplify this, you will get 2.38 into 10 to the power of minus 2 Newton. The net force of this. Net force. It's the magnitude of the force acting on charge Q1 due to Q2 and Q3. It's net force. Then what is its direction? For predicting the direction of this force, there is a formula. There is a formula. Tan alpha equal to, what is alpha is this, the angle between f net and f1. Okay, so f2 sine theta by f1 plus f2 cos theta. f2 sine theta by f1 plus f2 cos theta. So we know f2 as 2.7 into 10 to the power of minus 2 sine 120 by 1.8 into 10 to the power of minus 2 plus 2.7 into 10 to the power of minus 2 into cos 120. And sine 120 is 0.87, cos 120 is minus 1 by 2. If you substitute these values here, you will get for 7 alpha as 79.2 degrees. So what is F net? The magnitude 2.38 into 10 to the power of minus 2 Newton. In which direction? 79.2 degrees from F1. The net force acting on charge Q1 is 2.38 into 10 to the power of minus 2 Newton, whose direction is like making an angle of 79.2 degrees with the direction of F1. This is how you have to mention in the end. Okay, so this is the way of solving the problems using principle of superposition of forces. So you can also solve for any polygon type problems like square, like I did for triangle, or any other polygon type problems. The net force on one charge due to another charges. Okay, so this is how the electrostatic force or Coulomb's law is very important to calculate the net force on a charge, as well as we have not seen it yet. It will be useful for finding the electric field produced by electric charge. Okay, so hope you have understood. If you have any doubts regarding this lecture, you can keep your doubts under the comment section so that I would be ready to solve your doubts. Thank you very much.